This is the Ancient Texan. Um, I'm on a trip today going down to San Antonio. I'm getting on a plane at Philadelphia, driving up there in a car that Clarity 2018, which is a plug in hybrid, which the summer might give me 50 miles on a charge. And then it switches over to a small little 3-cylinder engine that charges up the battery. And then the electric motor runs on the battery. I thought it was a cool car. They only made it for 2 years and then they quit because other people didn't think it was a cool car. I got it for 20,000 though, and I think it's a marvelous car. Now, Honda didn't know how to make software. They kind of suck at that, but the car's pretty amazing aside from the software. What I'm going to talk about briefly this morning um, is cush life that we take for granted. No matter where you are on the spectrum, our life is still much easier than a few hundred years ago. Now, maybe the hunter gatherers had a better life. I think that's um, can be disputed on whose life was better. They had a pretty cush life. But everybody's kind of noticed that um, the baby boomers had it good. I'm a baby boomer. I had it good. I actually think, on average, we move through the peak living standard in my life. Um, there's probably some way to, factually attack that, but I think there's a lot of evidence without looking too hard. A third of Americans live right on the edge of missing one paycheck and they're starving or don't have a home or they're homeless or don't have a car, can't fix their car. And their living standard is continuing to decline. And then even the middle class is declining, but on average we're okay because the guys, like Elon, are they got $1 trillion or whatever they've got. Um, they kind of support the average, but on average we're kind of going downhill. Now there's a tendency to want to find somebody to blame, but I don't think it's a somebody. I think it's Mother Earth if you want to find somebody to blame. We've kind of abused Mother Earth, and we've taken like it. She took 1,000,000 years to make all the oil, and we're going to burn it up in a couple of centuries, and then that oil does the work of. It's like you have 100 people working for you all the time. The amount of energy that we're pulling from the ground for Americans is we get about 100 barrels of oil each year um, to support us. It's like having 100, not 100 barrels. We get oil equivalent to 100 people working for us. And we just take it for granted. You turn on your lights and your air conditioner and your dishwasher and your refrigerator, freezer, TV, computers. All that's consuming energy. I'm fixing to go on a airplane trip. That's an ungodly amount of energy. I couldn't expend that much energy and make the plane move in my whole lifetime. All that energy is coming from petroleum. But we probably hit pretty close to, we're right at the peak, or probably a little bit past the peak oil slash energy production out of the ground. And that still makes up 80% of our energy. Now, as that goes away, oil is going to get expensive. Life is going to get more expensive. Yeah, you can do wind and solar, but that takes a huge investment too. And at some point, you find out we don't have enough copper to actually pull off that game plan. Not at least in the kind of time frame people are talking about we need it. So there's a podcast I'm always giving him a little boost, Great Simplification. But it's the idea that we've reached the peak living standard and we're on a decline. We have to learn to live with less material goods and perhaps learn how to connect with each other as people and cooperate and work together. Now, whether we can do that or we just collapse and fall apart, the cards are out there. Now, if you see this coming and enough of you believe it, I believe it, um, we can have a orderly decline and learn to share, which is another way of saying wealth inequality. AI is so smart, fix wealth inequality. Those are the real core problems we have, is taking care of the bottom third, taking care of the weakest. Some of you don't believe in being your brother's keeper, and so I don't know, hit the off button. I actually do. I actually believe in life. I love life. I love being alive. I love life in general, the lions and the wolves and the horses. I love life. I think it's it's the best thing I've ever experienced. Um, and I believe in trying to help all life stay alive. Now, it may not be your cup of tea, but if it is, one of the things you need to recognize is that we're on a slow decline. And a lot of the craziness we're seeing as individuals each feel that decline coming into their lives. And then we've got it stirred up by, the greed of computer companies that put algorithms in that kind of, I want to say make you crazy, but stirs up the hate. Now, if you can see the world and that we're on a decline and things that are making it worse, like the algorithms on the computer, then you can be part of the group that starts pushing for reforms in our government and our, legislating AI and algorithms and making people responsible for the harm they cause. But that's a side topic. The topic today is just kind of simple that, we've peaked, probably oil, but we've peaked living standard. Um, and I know it takes a lot more than I'm presenting here to prove that. And if you listen to the AI people, miracles are coming. I personally, I think AI will be wonderful. It'll be a good tool. But I think Mother Nature is more powerful. Uh, Physics, thermodynamics, all that kind of stuff is more powerful than we are. And it's going to play out like it's already been playing out. we're heating up our planet. We're going to make life more difficult. Look at the number. I'll do a podcast on the number of places in the U.S. that are having water shortage, but it's not just the U.S. Iranians are having water shortage. You know, we're killing a bunch of them, which obviously questionable. Killing a bunch of Palestinians, but there's a lot of places in the world where there's a water shortage. And right now, the Middle East pretty much stays alive on desalination plants, which take an amazing amount of energy. And again, as oil peaks and we move to energy that's more difficult to use, although we're underusing nuclear, but even that has, you got to dig up uranium, concentrate it. Everything has the world we live on is finite, which is concept nobody's quite got. And most of the renewable energy, it's maintainable energy. You still have to, dig mines and uh, extract stuff from the earth, which is getting harder each year because we're used up the good stuff. So even something like renewables or nuclear and stuff, they all require digging a hole in the ground. And where to dig the hole to find the stuff is the problem. We obviously go for the easy stuff, high grade the planet. That's a mining term, but we high grade our ore deposits. We get the best stuff first. All that's being consumed. And what that means to you is that life is becoming more difficult. Not more difficult for those that are capturing more than their share, like Elon. And he talks about wealth inequality like it's nothing. It's easy to talk about it if you've never been dirt poor. But Grok is not solving the decline. Nobody's solving the decline. And in some ways, trying to find somebody to blame, the immigrants, the Republicans, the Democrats, is just a huge waste of effort that's very counterproductive. Mother Earth has decided we've taken our share and it's cutting us back. It's putting us on a diet. You can accept what Mother Earth's doing and adjust your life to cooperate with Mother Earth, or you can find somebody to blame. But it's Mother Earth that is deciding that we've taken enough and is slowly turning the screws and making it harder. Not that I think Mother Earth has any consciousness, but I, that's beyond my pay grade. But I do know I'm probably in the top 10%, I would guess, maybe higher than that, 1%, of understanding physics, thermodynamics, and uh, chemistry, especially inorganic chemistry, stuff that has to do with the metal refining and extraction. And the concepts apply on a much broader basis. Um, and I'm paying attention to what Mother Earth is saying as she puts us on a diet, as she's telling us she can't absorb any more heat in the oceans. And as the water dries up all over the planet, There are places, though, that are getting flooded, but that doesn't help you if you're in a place that's, you know, your rivers just dried up, like Corpus Christi or the Colorado River Basin or the lower Mississippi. We'll go into some of those water problems or the Middle East. That's like a whole subject of its own. But everything is being reallocated and moved around. And we're all getting a little bit less. Some of us a lot less. Now you can get upset and blame blacks or gays or trans or immigrants or Democrats or Republicans or communists. It doesn't matter. Whoever you blame, they might be making the problem worse or they might be making it better. But the overall trend, none of us are in charge. Mother Earth is in charge, and Mother Earth is cutting us back. And you can either adjust to that and locally try to live a prosperous and connected life with other people, or you can be angry and find somebody to blame. It's your choice. Anyway, this is the Ancient Texan on the way to Texas. I thought it appropriate. I need to make a little podcast today. I hope you have a good one and hope your life is as good as it can be. Namaste.